The U.S. determined Tuesday the exact origins of weapons used to deliver a crippling blow to the world's largest oil production facility. A senior U.S. official tells CBS News the missiles fired on Saudi Arabia's refinery over the weekend were launched from Iran. As U.S. military analysts comb through intelligence data, the Trump administration is weighing its options for a proportional response. President Trump said Monday he does not want war with Iran. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is set to arrive in Saudi Arabia on Wednesday, where he will meet with the Crown Prince. David Martin has more from the Pentagon about the Iranian technology used in the attack.
Experts have examined pieces of the wreckage on the ground in Saudi Arabia, identified the specific type of cruise missiles and drones fired, and determined they were made in Iran. Other analysts have traced their tracks back to points in southwestern Iran. One official called it a complex and coordinated attack involving 24 drones and 9 cruise missiles. Although Vice President Pence stopped short of saying flatly it was Iran.
Yesterday, it's certainly looking like Iran was behind these attacks. Our intelligence community at this very hour is working diligently to review the evidence.
Iran appears to have found a gaping hole in Saudi air defenses around their most valuable asset, oil. Saudi Arabia relies on U.S.-made Patriot air defense batteries, but they were all pointed south toward Yemen, where past missile attacks have come from. The missiles and drones that hit the oil facilities this weekend came in from the north. The U.S. has Patriots of its own at an air base in the middle of the country, but they were too far away. Having been unable to prevent the attack, the U.S. warned it might retaliate.
We're locked and loaded, and we're ready to defend our interests and our allies in the region. Make no mistake about it.
The U.S. has been locked and loaded since last spring when it sent an aircraft carrier and B-52 bombers to the Persian Gulf. But Joint Chiefs Chairman General Joseph Dunford told reporters the president has not yet asked for any military options. For now, the most concrete consequence of what Secretary of State Pompeo called an unprecedented attack on the world's energy supply is that President Trump said he'd prefer not to meet with Iranian President Rouhani next week when world leaders gather at the UN.
David Martin joins me now from the Pentagon. David, as you reported, the Iranians seem to have discovered a weak spot in Saudi Arabian defense systems. Do we know what is being done to address that vulnerability?
Well, that's going to be topic number one when Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrives in Saudi Arabia. He's leaving later tonight to meet with Saudi leaders. And the sudden realization of how vulnerable these oil facilities are, which of course are the heart and soul of the Saudi economy, has been a cold shock. U.S. intelligence had not expected Iran would be so bold as to attack Saudi Arabia directly. And as a result, all the air defenses around those oil facilities were looking in other directions for missiles fired from Yemen by Iranian proxies. And these missiles were fired from Iranian territory and met absolutely no opposition. So the very first thing the U.S. and Saudi Arabia have to agree on is how they are going to build up the defenses around these critical facilities.
And David, at this point, why is the U.S. holding back on making an official judgment on who was responsible for this attack?
I think they want the Saudis to say it first, just because it was their oil facilities, after all. And I think there's a realization that the rest of the world is skeptical about American intelligence judgments dating all the way back to the mistakes about weapons of mass destruction at the start of the Iraq War, but in particular in this administration, where the U.S. is pursuing this maximum pressure campaign, and most of the world is against the U.S. maximum pressure campaign, our European allies in particular. And so they would be skeptical of U.S. intelligence as being used as an excuse or a pretext for taking another strike against Iran. So they want to get this thing lock solid before they present it. And then, of course, there's always the problem of finding how much of it you can actually declassify.
na nilinis ng higit 1,000 volunteers ang Manila Bay matapos itong matambakan ng basura dahil sa walang patid na pag-ulan.
We need the cooperation of everyone because this is a very big job. We're doing cleanup here and we're overwhelmed by the garbage.
6 na truck ng basura na pawang mga nakalagay sa sako ang paunang nahakot ng MMDA mula sa mga nakolekta ng mga volunteer. Karamihan sa mga basura ay mga tsinelas, plastic at mga piraso ng mga kahoy. Matapos ito, nagsagawa naman ng mud balls throwing ang grupo ng mga empleyado ng isang bangko at mga residente sa Estero de Abad sa Leverisa, Maynila. Ang mud ball ay teknolohiya sa Japan na naglilinis daw ng mga dumi sa tubig estero, kanal at ilog.
Yung mud ball naman ang supposedly maglilinis ng sludge at saka slit sa ilalim ng tubig. So we'll do that for 3 consecutive months, and then from the baseline evaluation done by DNR, we will try to measure kung may improvement.
Tuloy-tuloy naman ang pangungulekta ng MMDA sa mga basurang patuloy na inaanod sa Manila Bay. Umaaksyon, Gary De Leon, News 5.